June 73 says she's been denied help to bathe for 5 months. Meanwhile, in Parliament, they continue to guzzle down the Bollinger and nosh on the caviar. A pensioner from Scunthorpe says she's been unable to have a bath or even make it out of her front door in 5 months because carers aren't allowed to lift her. June Rhodes, who's 73, struggles to walk following a car accident a year ago. According to a campaigner for better social care, it's just another example of how the social services system is failing, and that is leaving some of our region's most vulnerable people neglected, Michael Billington reports. Me a while back in Parliament, they've said, who gives a shit? It's not like we give a care about anyone or anything. Besides, you interrupted me drinking my Bollinger and eating my beluga caviar. So, just run away, you useless slave. Heathrow Airport, drone sighting halts departures. This is total bollocks again. There'll be no drone at all, yet again. Absolute made-up fake. Serco loses contract to house asylum seekers in Scotland. Multinational provider Serco, the biggest company most people have never heard of, has lost a contract worth tens of millions a year to house asylum seekers in Scotland. The contract to provide accommodation in Glasgow has been awarded to Mayors Group, a UK-wide housing and social care provider. The new arrangement will come into force in September. Whilst we've still got men, women and children on the streets. The government are the problem, with the puppet masters of course, and the royals and the councils, because councils are just a dictator, further dictator form of the government. Drone sighted at Heathrow Airport, all flights grounded indefinitely. Total utter bullshit. Trafficking convictions fall 25% despite rising number of victims in Europe. UN report shows dropping conviction rates over 5 years as slavery expert condemns failure to recognise victims of abuse. When you catch these traffickers, they should be locked up for life. After all, they're trading in men, women, children. So they need their liberty taken away for the rest of their life. And you see how quickly it stops. French cardinal goes on trial accused of helping cover up abuse. Philippe Barbarian faces jail if convicted of failing to report priests who abuse scouts. The highest profile Catholic cleric to be embroiled in the paedophile scandal in France has denied in court that he failed to report a priest who abused scouts in the 80s and 90s. Cardinal Philippe Barbarian, the Archbishop of Lyon, one of the most prominent Catholic figures in France, is accused of with five others of helping to cover up abuse. At the opening of the trial on Monday, Barbarian appeared to pray at the judge as the judge read the accusations against the defendants. I never sought to hide, much less cover up those horrible acts, Barbarian told the court in Lyon, reading from a written statement. Well, the fact that he had to read from a written statement to make sure he gets it right shows you that he's fully aware of what was going on. NHS chiefs tell Theresa May it's time to curb privatisation. Document demands repeal of 2012 legislation of automatic tendering of care contracts. What is NHS long-term plan and can it achieve its aims? Of course, she'll just totally ignore it because the plan is to privatise everything. More treason, you know. It's what's getting shocking is that now when you mention that they've committed treason, it's no longer shocking because they've done it so often. West Midlands 5G testbed to trial connected ambulances. High-speed mobile internet is expected to revolutionise healthcare and public transport in a testbed region of the UK. The West Midlands has been chosen as the UK's first 5G area, testing the technology before a national rollout. In other words, they're going to fry the people there first, and then Oh yeah, that works fine. Because it's not about whether it causes any health problems, it's testing. It's testing to see how fast and how good it is, when in actual fact it's an energy weapon to be deployed against everyone. Birmingham, Coventry and Wolverhampton will receive up to 75 million of public investment to develop 5G coverage. Plans for 5G including using live video streaming to provide specialist advice to ambulance paramedics. Digital Minister Margot James said the new technology would transform daily life. Yes, because it'll kill us all. No one more transformed than that, is there? France to toughen up on undeclared protests in response to yellow vests. French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe has announced plans to introduce legislation that would crack down on undeclared protests in response to the Gilets Jaunes yellow vest demonstrations. Now in its 7th week of protests, demonstrators set barricades on fire, threw missiles at riot police and torched motorbikes in Paris on Saturday. Philippe told TF1 television on Monday, "We need to preserve the right to demonstrate in France, and we must sanction those who break the law." It's not a law, it's a rule. Just like everywhere else, there are no laws. And so this just merely means they're getting ready for martial law in France. Hospital lying deserted and unused just 3 miles from where Theresa May lives launched her 10-year spending plan for health services. Theresa May went to Alderhay Children's Hospital, Liverpool, to launch NHS plan. But just 3 miles away, a brand new £500 million NHS hospital stands unused. The 13-storey building houses top-of-the-range scanners and medical equipment. Work ground to a halt last January following a botched private finance initiative deal with the new collapsed company Carillion. 3 miles from yesterday's NHS launch, a £500 million hospital lies empty and unused. The 13-storey building houses top-of-the-range scanners and other medical equipment and was meant to have been finished 2 years ago. However, work ground to a halt in January following the botched privatised financial initiative deal with the collapsed company Carillion. Revealed, the same story, different paper, the brand new £500 million NHS hospital, blah blah blah, virtually same picture as well. New Idea magazine quotes a royal insider telling of struggles in the royal couple's marriage. Oh yeah, raping all them children and drinking all that adrenochrome. It's just hard, you know, having to kill the kids and crack open their heads and gain the adrenochrome. Oh, it's just not what it used to be. A senior royal may have said. A national magazine has made a sensational claim that royal divorce is in the offing, and despite the focus of the younger generation of royals, the unconfirmed claims relate to an older couple. Australian-based New Idea magazine claimed Prince Charles and Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, are filing for divorce imminently. I doubt that very much, because they've been up to so much dirty shit, including the raping and murder of children, that he's unlikely to find anyone else that's going to go along with him doing that stuff. The magazine has reported the Royal Insider has told of the struggle in the royal couple's marriage, according to Devon Live. A report in the magazine says the Prince of Wales has been consulting with his divorce lawyer. Oh yeah, let's get him to look over here rather than look at what the paedophiles are up to. Oh, we're paedophiles as well. Oh, never mind. Organiser of Macron's grand debate with Yellow Vest defends her shocking €176,000 a year salary. We're all in it together, except some of us aren't so much in it at all. Clashes between police and protests in Paris on January 5th. Emmanuel Macron planned for a nationwide public debate intended to diffuse months of Gilets Jaunes protests is off to a rocky start. The spotlight has shifted to the extravagant salary of the official in charge of organising it. Chantal Jeannot is a former sports minister in the Conservative government in Nicolas Sarkozy and the current chairwoman of the CNDP, an official body of public debates, a role for which she receives an annual salary of €176,000. Pretty much £175,000 thereabouts, up or down slightly. The prominent position for yet another well-paid bureaucrat has caused outrage against the backdrop of street protests that were fueled by the disconnect between decisions taken by financially secure public officials and the impact they have on ordinary citizens, such as the now cancelled petrol tax. €114,000 raised for boxer who punched police at Gilets Jaunes protests. French politicians express outrage after public fundraiser for Christopher Dettinger, a former French boxing champion who was filmed punching police officers during a Gilets Jaunes protest, has received more than €100,000 in public donations online, angering the government. Oh, shame, eh? The online fundraising platform received $114,000 for Christopher Dettinger before the site closed the donation page after politicians expressed outrage on Tuesday. Liche said that funds were intended only for legal fees. Dettinger handed himself into police after clashing with officers on a bridge in Paris during an anti-government protest on Saturday. The incident was cited by the government as a sign of violent turn demonstrations against Emmanuel Macron have taken. Because they're pissed off with the paedophile, that's why, and the poisoning of the vaccines, as well as the destruction of the French infrastructure. The 37-year-old, a French light heavyweight champion in 2007-2008, who retired from the sport in 2013, said in a video that he had boiled over after being tear-gassed with his wife on his 8th Saturday protest. I reacted badly. Yes, I reacted badly. He said, adding he had seen the repression of the police towards protesters. He added, I'm demonstrating for all the pensioners, for the future of my children, for single women, for everything we're fighting for. I am a Gilets Jaunes. I have the anger of the people in me. It's always the little people who pay. But the funds raised online seen as a mark of support for the infuriated ministers, who were on over €170,000 a year. Marlene Schipper, Junior Minister for Equality, said contributions to a fundraising kitty to support someone who attacked an officer is tantamount to being an accomplice to these grave acts of violence. The Labour Minister Muriel Pennicord called the fundraising campaign incomprehensible. How can these people tell their children, the young, that they fought to save them from the dictatorship? She might not have said that, but that's basically what it really is. MPs vote for amendment to thwart no-deal Brexit preparations. MPs seeking to block a no-deal Brexit have voted for an amendment to the finance bill amid thwarting preparations for an exit of WTO terms in a symbolic defeat for the government. Many in Westminster are still determined to block a clean break with the EU. More treasonous bastard MPs in Parliament. The amendment passed narrowly by 303 votes to 296, Westminster reported. However, Yvette Cooper and other anti-Brexit MPs have tabled an amendment just before Christmas. This amendment would prevent the government implementing no-deal provisions without the explicit consent of Parliament for such an outcome, they explained. Don't forget, this has all been pre-planned. Though it doesn't kill off the no-deal Brexit, it shows just how many politicians in Westminster are determined to stop the kind of Brexit millions want to see. Help Westminster stand up for 17.4 million Brexiteers by supporting us with a monthly or single donation, blah blah blah, yeah. Israeli intervention in US elections vastly overwhelms anything Russia has done, claims Noam Chomsky. There's a video in this as well. It's only about 2-3 minutes long. Go and watch it. He's bang on. Veteran activist Noam Chomsky has accused Israel of brazenly interfering in US electoral politicians in a way that vastly outweighs any effort that may have been carried out by Russia. In comments in which he accused much of the media of concentrating on stories he considered marginal and ignoring issues such as the existential threat of climate change, the 89-year-old linguist said, in most of the world, the US media focuses on Russia's alleged interference in the 2016 was a joke. First of all, if you're interested in foreign interference in our elections, whatever the Russians may have done barely counts or weighs in the balance as compared to with that what another state has done. Only brazenly and with enormous support, he said. Speaking to Democracy Now!, Mr. Chomsky added, Israel intervention in US elections vastly overwhelms anything the Russians have done. I mean, even to the point where the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, goes directly to Congress without even informing the President and speaks to Congress with overwhelming applause to try to undermine the President's policies. What happened with Obama and Netanyahu in 2015? In March 2015, the invitation of then Republican House Speaker John Boehner and assisted by Israel's ambassador, the US Ron Dermer, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the joint houses of Congress about the yet-to-be-signed Iran nuclear deal. He did so without formally informing the White House, something said to have infuriated Barack Obama, whose administration would the following month join a seven-party agreement to limit Iran's alleged nuclear weapons ambitions. In a speech to Congress that was boycotted by more than 50 Democrats, Mr. Netanyahu made clear his opposition to the deal. This deal won't be a farewell to arms, said Netanyahu, the traitorous, treasonous bastard. To loud applause. It would be a farewell to arms control, and the Middle East would soon be crisscrossed by nuclear tripwires, a region where small skirmishes can trigger big wars would turn into nuclear tinderbox. Because you can trust anything Netanyahu says, apart from the fact that he's a treasonous traitor to humanity. Democracy. France announces new measures to curb yellow vest protests. In other words, a dictatorship. You see, because if you're against the government, then we'll just bring in more draconian rules to stamp you out, because we are a dictatorship, plain and simple. Following sustained anti-government protests, the French government has announced plans to strictly control what it calls unsanctioned protests. Yeah, you've got to come and ask for a permit to say you can protest, you know, like they do in America. Yeah, you've got to get our permission, and if we say no in your protest, well, we'll use any means possible against you. Wearing masks on demonstrations will be prohibited. Well, that's going to screw the agent provocateurs up then, isn't it? Speaking on French TV channel TF1, Prime Minister Philippe said the government would support a new law punishing those who do not respect the requirement to declare protests. Yeah, you must tell us what you're doing, and if we say no, you go ahead. Well, we're going to make it a crime. Those who take part in unauthorised demonstrations and those who arrive at demonstrations wearing face masks. Protest leaders have begun to be arrested. A truck driver, Eric Durow, was arrested last week for organising an unsanctioned protest. Some politicians want to go further, Laurent Wauquiez, leader of the Republic Party, says. Because it's a dictatorship. And they don't want you exposing dictatorship. Devastated family of ex-squaddy 31 who was shot by armed officers in drugs bust gone wrong says they've had no answers from the police. This stinks of a possible assassination by the police, because you don't take armed officers to a house that's got a few plants growing in a bedroom. That don't happen unless you've got ulterior motives, which I believe they had here. The shock incident took place at around 6:20 on Barnbury Road last night. Friends have revealed that Sean Fitzgerald, 31, was the man shot by police. 2 suspects arrested during the bust have now been released by police. So it's not that serious an offence because they've been released, but they managed to shoot someone dead. More to this than meets the eye. The heartbroken family of ex-squaddy who was shot dead during a drugs bust gone wrong. Another murder that there'll be no punishment for. The cops will just walk away free because they do every single time. Have reportedly been left in the dark over his killing. A relative told the Sun, "We don't know anything. The police haven't been in touch with us and we haven't had any answers. We're just devastated." 2 suspects who were arrested following the raid in Coventry with Sean Fitzgerald was killed have been released by police. Mr. Fitzgerald, 31, who lived locally, was killed when police stormed the address, and 2 26-year-old men were arrested on suspicion of drugs offences. Except cannabis isn't a drug, and if it can be grown under licence by members of the government, then we can all grow it. One of the men has since been bailed and the other has been released under investigation, Westminster Police said today. The Forces watchdog, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, independent, my arse, run by pigs and former pigs. Yeah, independent. They say this so it's independent's going to be looking into it. Everything's okay then, except it's never, ever independent in any way, shape or form, and that's why there's never been one single prosecution for murder, manslaughter, unlawful killing, any of that shit when the cops kill someone, ever. The Office for Police Conduct, the independent, piss off, we ain't falling for that shit anymore, is continuing its inquiry into the officers that after the shooting at about 6:20 p.m. on Friday. In a statement, the IOPC confirmed the man's identity as Mr. Fitzgerald. It said there was no indication the man was shot in the back, and the post-mortem would be held January 7th. Why would they put that bit? There was no indication the man was shot in the back. That tells me he was shot in the back while running away, and they're going to do everything to try and make out it didn't happen that way. Another police cover-up. What a shock. Yes, MPs deserve respect, but don't forget, Leavers have been the target of appalling hostility too. This is what has happened to our country, said Anna Sudbury, gesturing loftily during a BBC interview towards protesters who were claiming Anna is a Nazi. She's a Nazi, she's a traitor, she's a treasonous bitch. The population of this country have voted to leave, and this bitch is doing everything to go against the people. Therefore, treason. This behaviour, it was thuggish, no question, and yet wailed up in the place of her own self-regard. It didn't seem to occur to Sudbury that this which has happened to our country could partly be her fault. No, because MPs are blameless in everything and anything. Treason by these MPs needs to stop. We need to lock the bastards up for good. Aye. MPs saw a government plan for a no-deal Brexit. Nutrient offers Alzheimer's breakthrough. Drone alert Heathrow flights grounded. False flag again. Look over there, don't look over here. My mental health crisis showed the NHS has a long way to go. MPs revealed death threats and vile abuse. When you don't do as the public have said, you deserve everything you get. Politicians tell I of marked increase in aggressive and bullying behaviour by extremists protesting and warn that our democracy is in danger. Yeah, by these treasonous bastards that aren't getting us out like we voted for. Revelations come as police pledge to step up Westminster operation and intervene after Anna Sudbury was jostled and called a Nazi, which she is, a Nazi, dirty, filthy bitch. And if anyone in Bilborough votes for her, you're mental. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Frenchman who only likes young women sparks outrage. Cruises to make waves in 2019. How to be a lazy vegan. Travel step up the walking car. Mail. UKIP and the hate monger. Ah, well, yeah. Revealed bullying abuser Anna Soubry at Commons is far-right activist who posed up with UKIP leader. Yeah. All the bull. Let's see where we can point the fingers. Oh, yeah, it's him. Yeah. It's never the fact that the public have just had enough of these treasonous MPs. Never that, is it? No. Telegraph. Rebels draw first blood in battle to stop no deal. 20 Tories join guerrilla war and help defeat May in vote that could curtail her powers. Friendly rivals, but police urge to stop the far right. Yeah, they're always far right. Yeah, of course it's far right. Not just pissed off at the lies and deceit by the government. Prison window bars are out as cells may be renamed rooms. Drone scare disrupts Heathrow. False flag. Turkey rejects US plea to support Kurds. World Bank warns of interfering politicians. You mean the Rothschilds warns that the politicians are starting to say, look, this World Bank thing is a dictatorship. I reversed pre-diabetes in a week. It can be done. Yeah, I agree. The Times. Heathrow shutdown prompts new alarm over drone defences. We need more rules so that people can't go around flying these things anywhere, if there was even one flying anywhere. Italians block Leonardo loan is in worsening France feud. Rebel Tory MP inflict historic defeat on May. Government loses finance vote. Yeah, bullshit. It's just smoke and mirrors. The Guardian, we will end threat to no deal Brexit. Cross-party alliance of MPs tells May. Westminster police step up response after harassment of Anna Soubry. She wants harassing out of politics because she's an evil cow. The people have voted to leave. She doesn't want to leave, so she's got to go. Kate Bush, I'd like to clarify my politics. The Guardian view on Brexit. The government has failed. It's time to go back to the people, which means let's have another referendum, even though they've not carried out the first one. The message must be that this country needs a new and fairer deal, and that this is best guaranteed by a better Britain in a better Europe. See, in a better Europe, not leaving. The government has failed, so we must go back to the people and have another referendum. This time we'll fix to remain. Express. Our energy giants still ripping you off? Yes. Not again. New drone count. False flag. Bullshit never happened. Rebel MPs dramatically defeat May in show of force against no deal. They really do want to steal your Brexit. My hurt when Babs forgets who I am. Metro, time to arrest these fascist bullies. Yes, that bitch needs arresting because she's going against the people, so she needs arresting. But of course, they'll spin it the other way. Drone chaos at Heathrow. Spacey in trouble with the cops again. Sex case, Gaza, I'm scared to bits. Bullshit. The Scum. I've smuggled 300 migrants in UK, 6,000 fixer boasts, secrets of Meg's love nest, drone chaos again. Yeah, bullshit. This is just mirror. Sometimes Babs asks who I am, breaks my heart. Serial killer shock, Belfield attacked us to TV drama prompt 3 new sex assault victims to contact police who led hunt. Star, how Babs forgets I'm her husband. Big Gem is just not cool. Oh, Daily Bra, Kelly, my giant boobs agony. Well, it's damn sight more interesting than Brexit. Yeah, don't look at Brexit because we don't want you thinking about that. Just ignore that because, you know, the treason, we don't want you to look at that. Corrie Base, Bev slams stars, drone chaos Heathrow. Financial Times, worry about long-term threats, not a cyclical downturn. Regulators stalk brokers dealing in customs data. The brave stock pickers hunting bargains in the dock. Goshen denies Nissan charge. IAG faces loss of flying rights as Brussels balks at Brexit plan. Airline group must prove it is EU controlled. Risk of BA and Iberia. See, this is more coercion by Europe. If you're not a European company, you're not flying over Europe. Well, you know what, Europe. There's more reason to get out. Erdogan snubbed to Bolton, Stokes fresh unease over US withdrawal from Syria. Kim begins Beijing visit after warning to Trump. See, it's all treason and smoke and mirrors and look over here, don't pay any attention to the paedophiles in Parliament. Let's not forget, Parliament has lost numerous dossiers with evidence of paedophiles in Parliament, which leads right up to Blair, Cameron, Brown, May, you name it, all of them. And so they're deliberately covering up. So the paedophiles in Parliament, it should be our main observation and objective. That's who we should be putting the pressure on, not any of this other shit that they're trying to distract us with. Time to end Parliament's evil, satanic, paedophile dictatorship.
Dennis Healy. World events do not occur by accident. They are made to happen, whether it is to do with national issues or commerce, and most of them are staged and managed by those who hold the purse strings.